I'm Kristen. I'm an educational advocate. I work in the National Capital Region. I work with families who have children who are exceptional or have special needs, and I help these families get supports and resources in school and outside of school to better reach their potential and more effectively demonstrate who they are and how they learn and what their potential is. That's what I do. My passion for advocacy stems from my own personal experiences being an exceptional or special needs child. As I was growing up, I had a very hard time learning in traditional environments because I have been diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD. And at that time, I didn't understand how to communicate what I needed in my learning environment. So through my experience growing up in grades in school, I began to understand what I needed to be successful in the classroom, and I began to understand how I need to communicate that to others, teachers, peers, and other individuals who I work with. And I began to develop my own system of knowledge creation. And as I did that, it brought me to university where I did really well because I could focus on my strengths and not my weaknesses. And that brought me to my master's degree. And my master's in education, it's how people learn, why they learn, what makes them learn. As my specialization was in teaching, learning, and evaluation. So this all became a cumulative factor for me to form my advocacy process. And I find that having dyslexia and ADHD only makes me a better advocate and a better person, because who better to work with these kids and work with their families than someone who sat in the classroom and been that child that was misunderstood and overlooked. And you know, in the early 90s, my teacher did call me stupid, and I know what that made me feel, and I never want anybody to feel like that. So that is what makes me passionate about what I do, because I know every child has potential. So how I can help families is that as an educational advocate, I am very well versed in the policies, procedures, directives, and regulations that come from the Ministry of Education, but also how that transcends and disseminates into the school boards and into the learning environments of the child. So what I do is as an advocate, I help parents understand the system. And I help the parents not only understand the system, but understand how the system impacts their child and their learning profile and their learning environment. Because I use those documentations that follow the children, you know, their psychoeducational reports, speech language reports, occupational therapy reports, you know, their individual education plans or IEPs, or the IPRC process, so the Identification Placement Review Committee. I help parents understand what all this means and how it translates into transition plans and how it translates into understanding, you know, what kind of accommodations are given in school, whether it's instructional, environmental accommodations, or if it's assessment accommodations. I help parents kind of synthesize this information in terms of an understanding of what and how they can help their child and what their roles as parents and as advocates are in the system. Because you know what, the education system, there is a role for parents, and if they don't understand how they are fit into the system and what they need to do, there's an opportunity lost. So I help parents gain the opportunity to most effectively support their child. So that's my goal. That's my little introduction to who I am and how I can help parents. And you know, as we go, I'll have more videos. And so I'd love your feedback if you have any questions, or you'd like me to speak to something. Feel free to contact me. My contact information will be on here magically with technology. And yeah, I look forward to working with you. I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, or morning. Okay, all the best. Bye.
So,